Koso is the art of fermentation in Japan, traditional art of fermentation. It's a combination of a year and a half plus fermentation, and it's also a combination of the bacteria that are used to bake the product. In the science of bacteriology, a lot of people maybe have used these medicines like penicillin and other forms of antibiotics. The start of all of those medicines came from soil. And they were bacteria that were found by Nobel Prize winning doctors, and then they were taken to the laboratory and they were perfected. The use of penicillin was something that turned World War II into something that was a little bit more generous towards the soldiers that were suffering from infections. And even today, we reach out for antibiotics when we are highly infected. So the use of these bacteria are not new, but the isolation of these bacteria and use for fermentation were new. And Koso Med, which is a century-old company, yes, I co-founded the company, but I had mentors. Obviously, I'm not a century old. There are people that are a century old or had been a century old, and they investigated all these different technologies. I'm going to try to simplify it because a lot of medical people try to make things very complicated. Plants are the origin of life. You go outside, you see a flower, you see a tree, you take it for granted that they're alive. Yet there's a universe underneath that particular tree or flower that keeps that plant or tree alive. You can't see it, but it has its own function. If that universe is healthy, just like a human body is healthy, everything looks beautiful. The roses look beautiful, the trees look beautiful. However, there are parts of our earth, unfortunately, when you go out to a forest or you go out to a park, you can see the trees are yellow or browning, or the flowers look not as pretty as maybe other places. That is the first sign that the universe underneath it is not functioning as it should be. Well, in a very simple form, my mentor and his technology, they would go out in different parts of Japan and they could see certain areas of where the lusciousness, the mountains, the forests were absolutely beautiful. And then right around the corner, it wasn't. And so they were very inquisitive. They started to ask, well, why is this part so beautiful and this part is not? And through their own investigation, through their own research, they found out that the bacteria that were in this particular A part, let's call it, were fantastic and very energetic and synergetic. And in B part, basically, there was a lack of friendly bacteria or good bacteria. The human body is very similar. We're about 60 to 70% good bacteria and 30% bad bacteria. So when the bad bacteria overtake our body, guess what we look like? It's not a pleasant sight. That was the beginning of the Koso venture. Koso meaning the fermented usage of those bacteria. And so that became an art form in Japan. And especially for Japanese people, they don't reach out for aspirin when they have a headache. They reach out for Koso. They don't reach out for a variety of antibiotics first. They tend to go towards Koso. Koso is a household name. And that, in my opinion, is the main reason why people live so long here, is because those good bacteria, those functional bacteria keep your body at optimal stage of life.